You genuinely think people that are guys that are into me are of a higher caliber? Be honest. Someone that's willing to date me with my past. No. And you don't, if you're being honest, no. Exactly.
You got that right.
Was very much a fool in most of my decisions.
Even with all the success that you've had, you're an incredible mother now, businesswoman, you're working with Playboy, you still look back on that and you still feel ashamed?
Yeah, I don't like the fact that people can see me naked on the internet or can see those things happening to me. I think that it's gross.
You're right, it is.
Biggest regret in that part?
Shagging some guy last night.
Out of 10?
6. We were having sex and he had a bowl of vodka behind his bed. And as we were having sex, I accidentally smashed this whole new bottle of vodka. And the sex was a bit shit, so I got a bit bored.
Emily, what was your biggest regret in that part?
Not bringing enough knickers. Getting with the worker. I licked a guy's ass.
You what?
About a year and a half ago, I got fired because I had a spicy side. So this was a new job as a marketing manager at a shopping center. I was on day 5 of the role. And I'd literally called my best friend the day before and was like crying about how much I hated the job and how much I just wanted to do spicy work full time. And he was like, no, like you can't do that. There's too much like inconsistency. What if you like fail and then, you know, blah, 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 blah. And like sort of talked me out of it. And I was like, oh my God, okay, true. And like kind of stressed me out. And I was like, all right, okay, fine. Like I'll just keep going with this job that I hate. And then the next day I came into the office and I sat down and I had an email from my like boss's boss. And it was basically asking me if I had any side businesses. And I had a weird feeling when I got the email, like I had a bit of an idea that maybe someone had told them, and I actually think it might have been my previous workplace. But anyway, I responded being like, no, like, because also at the time it was a side hustle for me. Like it was not full-time work. I wasn't registered for GST tax, anything like that, because it was, you know, purely a side hustle. I didn't think of it as a business. So she asked me if it was a business. I said, no, I used to have a swimwear business, but I don't do that anymore. There's no conflicts of interest here, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, then I didn't hear anything for like a few hours, and I have endometriosis and I didn't know that at the time, but I was really, really sick that day and I was on my period and it was unbearable essentially. So I had to go home, and I went home, and I honestly think that was the universe's way of protecting me from having to deal with the confrontation in person. Because the second I got home, I got this text message from my boss being like, we'll be picking up your work phone. And I was like, what? My work phone's at the office. Like, what are you talking about? And they're like, check your email. So I checked my email and it was in my junk mail. This huge email, 4 reasons why I'd been fired. And yeah, with it was like screenshots of my spicy site on this email, which by the way is illegal. And they gave me the option to like explain myself and like give a good enough reason and, you know, maybe I could keep my job. Literally did not give a fuck. Like they set a meeting, I never responded to it. I just completely let it go. Like I actually couldn't have cared less. At first I was really shocked and upset just because I felt like I'd been discriminated against more than anything. But then I was like, this is what I wanted. I was literally going to quit yesterday and then this has happened. Like this is my sign from the universe that I'm meant to go full time with the spicy work. And it is the best thing that ever happened to me. Like mentally, physically, financially, I've never been happier, and I'm so grateful that that happened to me.
That's crazy.
All right, time to be really honest. I was really naive when I started out on adult work, and I offered BB for, you know, an extra 300, 400 pounds. I didn't actually think that anybody would pay for it, but as soon as I offered that, my profile was screenshotted. I was blacklisted on UK punting, and so I also didn't know that. So for 6 months, I had clients coming to me who would take it whether I gave it to them or not, because they knew that this was something that I offered, and if I wasn't going to submit to it in the moment, they were going to have it anyway. I could also totally be bribed with money. Like, money was more important to me than potentially catching something really deadly. How crazy is that?
Sure, it's very nuts. It's crazy.
Right, genuine question. What can I do to improve my face? Because I actually do think I'm a bit clapped. Like, I'm going to be honest, like, I just feel so clapped, honestly. It's just not even fun anymore. I've had my lips done, but it's just not giving. The face isn't giving, and I just don't know what more I can do. I'm getting jawline slimming on Monday, and I'm getting Botox in my eyebrows. What more can I do at this point? I've paid for everything. I've paid for cheeks, paid for chin. I might as well get a nose job at this point. I just hate feeling ugly.
Get a whole new face.
Of course, no good man or high value man would want their girlfriend or wife to be Google searched by friends or family to see them getting dug out on camera.
It's just common sense.
This happens to be one of the many 304s who regretted getting into that industry, and it affects them on so many different levels for the rest of their lives. They can never escape it because what goes on the internet stays there forever.
True dat.
Yes, the sign from the universe is for her to start an OF. The universe must be pretty ignorant to be trying to get these 304s to do this type of work. Apparently, this is the best thing to have ever happened to her, physically, mentally, and financially. I'm very curious to see what happens in the future, whether if all of that comes crashing down or not.
It will.
She was willing to risk deadly diseases for a couple of £100, not to mention the guys who were willing to pay for that and risk their manhood. I suggest every guy protect himself, not only from unwanted pregnancy, but also infections. You just don't know what could happen if you don't protect yourselves.
That's true. That's true.
This is what insecurity looks like. You will be surprised how many women are insecure, yet one of the first things they do to attack men is to call men insecure. When you have to get lip filler, Botox and implants to make yourself feel better about yourself, this is an obvious sign of zero self-acceptance and low self-esteem. The new generation of young women need to be better than this, and the older generations must show them better, especially those who have young daughters.
I agree.
Real men of genius.